Hi, James. Thanks for joining us today on CKUA.
It's a pleasure to be here with you, Lisa.
Well, first off, I spoke with you last year, and you were getting ready to release the second volume of This Day in History Expletive Went Down, which we'll refer to as Stuff Went Down for this interview. So what happened after that? How did that lead to a book deal?
Well, it was only about a month later that my agent reached out to some publishing companies. And, in the 2 years it was on sale, it sold over 50,000 copies, which is a lot for a traditionally published book, let alone a self-published book. So it led to a very big deal with a publishing company. And then we have reworked them.
Great. You've already self-published. So how does being signed to a major publisher help you as an author?
It helps in a number of different ways. I mean, one is your reach. The book was only sold via online stores for a couple of years, so it gets me in bookstores, and it helps in terms of some PR reach, like we're doing right now. But also you get a whole team behind you, not just in terms of marketing and PR, but the editing process. So I was really pushed to make the book the best it could possibly be. And then there was also a full redesign where they used pull quotes. And, the original book had only like 13 photos. The new one has like 90 photos.
Oh, right. Okay.
And so it's just, it's much more polished and professional. It was well done as a self-published book, but, when you get that big publishing house behind you, they make it as good as they possibly can.
So it's definitely new and improved.
I keep saying new and improved, and I mean it.
Well, this new version has become a bestseller in Canada. It's #1 in Alberta.
For the last 2 weeks, it's been #1 for nonfiction in Alberta, and it started at #10 in Canada. It's climbed to #6 for Canadian nonfiction.
Well, why do you think it's resonated with people?
I think most history people often say is sort of dry, and they didn't like what they were learning in high school. And this is, I've been a professional writer full time for a dozen years, and I found ways to make fitness and nutrition fun. So I applied that to writing history to make, telling interesting stories that captivate people, but they're also short. You can read a single day and then stop, or you can keep going. And I do have a sort of flair for the sarcastic and witty, but I think the profanity kind of helps spice it up a bit too. You're talking about some of the horrible things that people have done throughout history that may make you want to drop an F-bomb or two.
Yeah. Tell us about maybe one of your favorite facts that is in this book.
Well, there's a fun story about the theft of the famous painting, The Scream, during the 1994, I'm pretty sure, Olympics in Norway. So during the Olympics, they wanted to show off their famous artist, Edvard Munch's The Scream, and so they moved it to the main floor, and the security was very light, and the painting was stolen. And which was, a foolish thing to do. How do you sell one of the most famous paintings in the world unless you've already got this, avaricious billionaire already lined up for his secret collection, which they did not, because these were very dumb thieves. And so eventually they were caught, and the painting was returned. But the twist on this is that, yes, these weren't just stupid thieves. They were tools of a professional bank robbery ring that they had been put up to the theft, so that while the police were losing their minds trying to track them down and recover the painting, these bank robbers were going on a robbery spree because the police couldn't be bothered. Oh, bank robbers, who cares? We need to get this painting back. So it's just a funny twist to that story that I really liked.
And it is Halloween. It's October 31st. Was there anything that interesting that happened on this date?
So for the story that I wrote for this day on this day in history was from 1940, where victory in the Battle of Britain was declared. And one of the reasons for that was because the RAF had been so successful in shooting down the Luftwaffe bombers that they were shooting them down faster than the Luftwaffe could replace them. And there was a number of reasons for that. One was, just the Spitfires were more maneuverable than the Messerschmitt fighter planes, that they could tie them up while the Hurricanes went and shot down the bombers.
Right.
But another one was the recycling of the British pilots. That if a German pilot gets shot down and, successfully bails out and floats to the ground, well, he's going to spend the rest of the war in a POW camp. But if a British pilot is shot down and successfully bails out, well, he lands in some farmer's field, the farmer says, get in the truck, drives him back to the airfield, and he hops in another Spitfire or Hurricane, goes up, shoots down more enemy planes.
Right. As I mentioned earlier, you did a lot of fitness writing and stuff, but you are back, or are you back doing a lot more history? Is that sort of your main thing now? Or?
That is absolutely my career from now on.
Yeah.
It's funny, in 2019, I'd written a book about the science of the life-changing epiphany that didn't sell that great, which was what ended up those poor sales led me to, becoming a history author. History was my first love. I'd done a master's degree in it. I thought about becoming a history professor, but, life sort of got in the way. And so this allowed me to return to my original writing passion. And it was taking off better than I could have imagined. So I was committed from the second piece I wrote. I knew that this was my thing.
Thank you so much, James, and congratulations on the success on this day in history. Stuff went down.
Thank you so much, Lisa. I really enjoyed coming in today.